afternoon, everybody. My name is Matthew Brady. Thanks for watching this video, and I hope you've been enjoying some of my other videos. Today I wanted to talk to you guys a little about kind of what it's been like in the last year of ownership of my Fiesta ST, the majority of which it has been pretty much straight piped. So this car is a 2018 Ford Fiesta ST. It has no other major options other than the orange color, which was a $500 option for this model year, and the Recaro like racing bucket seats or sport bucket seats. They're heated. I like them in the winter. I'm glad I picked them, although they were a little expensive. They were like a $2,500 option. So this car, I have about 19,531 miles on the car right now, and that's been in about 13 months of ownership. So, you know, I'd say I probably put 18 to 19,000 miles on it in a year, roughly. Let's get driving here, and I'll kind of talk to you a little more about what it's been like to own this car. First off, I guess let's talk about the straight piping of said Ford Fiesta ST. About 1 month into ownership, I had my friend Cameron cut off the muffler and weld in just a delete pipe to a dual tip, which you saw in the sound clips of this car. And I loved that. I drove it around like that for maybe 6 months, kind of got used to it, and then it was probably September or October, we cut out the resonator as well. The Fiesta ST, if you guys don't know, has a catalytic converter in the downpipe coming from the turbo, and then it has a big fat factory resonator, and then it also has a muffler. The muffler is very restrictive as well. So basically it's a straight pipe from the cat all the way back, basically, or from the downpipe back. I don't have any plans to get rid of the stock downpipe, specifically for autocross reasons. And, you know, at that point it might be a little too loud, because this thing already, it's like, I kind of sometimes feel bad in like quiet areas when I start it or drive it away. It's just one of those things, like, I don't want to go louder. I've already been pulled over once for having too loud of an exhaust, and that was actually before I cut the resonator out. So, you know, it's not going to get any louder for me personally. I know there's people out there that do it, and that's cool. More power to you. It probably sounds sick, but for me, I'm not going to do that. Speaking of autocross, also, so I did almost a full season of autocross last summer. The only exceptions to that were 2 autocrosses where I actually drove my friend's Mustang GT, but I probably did 4 or 5 autocross events in my Fiesta ST and really got to know it. I was kind of driving it on crappy tires at the time. I mean, they were good tires, but they were about dead. They were, I was using Dunlop Dureza Z3s, and they were nearly bald for almost the entire autocross season. So this year I am hoping to get some better tires on this thing for autocross. Daily driving this car, you know, aside from being a little bit loud, which I actually enjoy, it doesn't drone much. The only drone I notice is usually, it's like between 3-ish and 3,500 RPMs. If you're on the interstate and you're cruising at 70 miles an hour, it actually doesn't drone. But if you bump up just to like 75, you do start to notice it a little bit. So one interesting thing about the resonator and muffler delete versus just a muffler delete is they drone exactly the same. So if you're worried that getting rid of your resonator is going to make the drone get even worse, it actually won't. I haven't noticed a single thing. And actually, when I'm driving on the highway for a long trip, I'll just put the parcel shelf thing back in there. Make sure that the seats are both up, and that kind of helps to quell the noise a little bit. I've done multiple 5-hour drives in this car, and I haven't really been super annoyed with it. My girlfriend's been with me for most of those, and she's been actually fine with the sound. She more doesn't like sitting in these seats because for a long time, you know, they hold you right in. They're not like the lounger kind of seats that are in her car or in most cars. Speaking of these seats, they are great for autocross. If you're buying this car for an autocross toy, like just to have a ton of fun with, I would recommend getting these seats if you can. On the used market, these cars have come down so far that you can find them with these seats, you know, for maybe 500 bucks more than cars without them, which is a deal. I think you should search out these seats if you want it for that reason, to be like a hooligan car, to have fun with, to autocross especially. It's really good. You don't have to, you know, worry about holding yourself in place while you're wheeling. That I do like a lot. As far as like gas mileage goes, it's kind of funny. Everybody says, they're like, oh, I bet that thing gets 40 miles a gallon. Oh man, those Fiestas get really good gas mileage. I don't ever see that. They don't. The best I've ever gotten on like a highway trip is 31 miles to the gallon. That was all highway for like 3-4 hours straight. Most of the time, actually, I average about 26 to 27. And that's because I kind of beat it a lot. I mean, I do rev it quite a bit. I don't know how to explain it. I don't like bang gears all the time, but I don't worry about revving my car out, and I kind of do it a lot. So basically, when you're in boost, it's making bad gas mileage. That's just the way it is. Me personally, the way I see it, I think it's pretty cool that I own a 200 horsepower kind of hot hatch fun car that even while I beat it will get 26 miles a gallon. I think that's saying something about modern technology. I always make sure to change the oil every 3,000 to 4,000 miles, which apparently is excessive, but I don't care because I kind of drive it hard, so I just want to make sure it lasts. As far as performance goes, you know, almost everybody can find videos of these cars when they came out in 2014 of how they handle and how peppy they feel and everything. They do all of that. I mean, this car, hey guys, I don't know who you are, but hey, I don't know. That's somebody that apparently knows me. So they are very peppy. The handling of this car I can only kind of describe as akin to like a front wheel drive go-kart, if something like that existed. It's just very immediate. It's got one of the fastest steering ratios of any car that's been on sale for the last like 5 years. It's a very, very quick ratio, which basically means little bits of steering input equate to a lot of steering. So like you just have to steer it a little bit to go real sharp side to side. And that to me makes the car feel just really agile and willing to turn. On the highway, I don't notice it feeling skittish or anything. I think if it was any sharper of a steering feel, it might, but as it is, it's really good. The throttle, or power, I guess I'll say, it feels quick, I think. I mean, when you compare it to some cars, you know, it's not actually that fast. It just sort of makes you feel like you're going fast. I mean, boost happens so quickly. So here's... That was just a little first through second launch, kind of. I only got up to like 45. It just sort of has this kind of David versus Goliath thing going for it. It makes you feel like it's just a lot stronger than it is. You know, it's not slow by any means. This thing will wipe the floor with anything else in its price range for the most part. You know, up to that $22,000 to $25,000 range. Above $25,000, you're starting to get into WRXs and, you know, base Mustangs and stuff, and those are still faster than this in a straight line. But regular cars, you know, they're never going to be able to you know, outrun you in this thing. Now, that being said, there's still your 300 plus horsepower minivans that, yeah, you know, you're still probably not going to beat them. But you can sure try. Most of them aren't racing you anyway, so, you know, you're having more fun than them, so it's not that big a deal. What makes this thing fun is just how boosty it feels. I mean, it hits max boost. I don't know the actual figure. I'll try to link that if I find it. It feels like it hits max boost like 2,500 to 3,000 RPMs. It just starts pulling like the second you lay in the throttle. Like 1 second later, it's just going hard, and it's not that big turbo kind of feel where it takes a bit, and then hits really hard. You know, it just pulls from like 2,500 all the way out. Apparently it starts dying down after about 5,500 RPMs, but I don't really notice it that much. Most of the time when I'm above that anyway, it's just for gearing purposes on autocross. I usually don't shift it at 6,500 RPMs. I'll just kind of ride limiter in autocross situations there. Reliability wise, I haven't had a single issue with the car the entire time I've owned it, given I know that's only a year of ownership and it's nearly a brand new car. But I don't baby this car whatsoever. I drive it way harder than anybody else that drives their street cars for the most part. I mean, I'm constantly revving it out. I'm always driving it kind of like I probably shouldn't, and that's why I get speeding tickets. But for what this thing is and what it's doing all the time, you know, it makes a lot of power out of a really small engine. It's a 1.6 liter 4-cylinder that makes 200 horsepower and about 200 pound-feet of torque. That's a lot of power out of such a tiny engine. I mean, if you just bump that up a little more, that would be like a what would that be, like a 3.2 liter making 400 horsepower, which at that point you're starting to get into like turbo 6-cylinder engines, like the newer super engines, stuff like that. I mean, this thing makes a lot of power per liter, and it feels like it. It just feels peppy, it feels fun, it just makes you happy to drive it. It makes me smile a lot. And I think if someone's looking for like a first performance car, I would say this is for sure like up there in the choices, because it's just really, it's so much fun. I mean, for a car that can do everything this does, it's got heated seats, you can fold down the rear seats, and you can fit actually a significant amount of stuff back there. I fit I think 5 or 6 wheels and tires back there. I fit 2 snowboards and a pair of skis and 3 people in this car for a 2-hour trip to go snowboarding and back. You know, you can do a lot of stuff with it. It's practical and it's fun. There's not that many cars that are as fun as this that are also practical. I've come from Miatas for the most part, and I love Miatas. They are just not nearly as practical as this car. They cannot be. You can max take 2 people anywhere, and you're gonna have as much fun when you get there. But if you need the practicality, if you need to throw a lot of stuff in the back of it, or you know, whatever the purpose may be, if you want that sound deadening of having an actual roof and everything, this is just going to be a lot more practical than almost anything at its price point new. 350Zs you can get for like, I don't know, maybe $26,000, which is still more than this car costs, and they're not going to be quite as practical. You can fit quite a lot of stuff in those, but it's still not, it can't hold 4 people, and it can't put a bunch of stuff back in the hatch type of area. Generally speaking, this kind of occupies a space of its own, other than the Focus ST, which is a little bigger, a little more performance envelope as far as power goes, but ultimately I don't feel like it's that much more practical for your money, and I don't feel like it's any more fun for your money. I think this is the more fun car, stock for stock anyway, or straight pipe for straight pipe. Here, let's just do a little pull down the highway on-ramp. That was 6,300. And that is 90 miles an hour. I'm going to slow it down a little bit. Well, never mind. I'll go around this guy. So I just, I hit 90 at the end of a freeway on-ramp. If I'd wanted to push it a little harder, I probably could have hit 100. There's no reason to be doing that most of the time, but except that it is really fun to do. There's other cars that, they'll do the same thing, but it's not going to feel as engaging. You're not going to be rolling the gears quite as much. You're just, in a regular car, you're not going to be having that much fun. There are other cars that will do, what this car does, but just, I don't know, just doesn't feel like in the same way. It feels like a little puppy dog that's always willing to just like put a smile on your face. Just know that if you're looking for one of these cars, you can find them very cheap used, significantly cheaper than I paid for this new. I've been seeing them for $10,000 to $15,000 all over the place, with anywhere from 50 to 100,000 miles on them in that price range. And for the money, I don't think you're going to get anything more fun and practical. I just really don't. And you're definitely not going to get anything that will dominate the way this thing does in autocross out of the box for that. You slap a pair of sticky tires on this car and it is a beast in the autocross. You will constantly be up there in packs and having a lot of fun. With that, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you want, you can like and subscribe. If you don't want to, that's cool too. I will see you in the next video. I've got a lot more coming. And if you have any questions about my Fiesta ST ownership, stuff that I might not have covered, just let me know in the comments below, and I will get back to you as quickly as I can. Have a good one. Thanks.